chimera is a hybrid concept originating from a fire-breathing monster in Greek mythology. Typically, it is depicted as a lion with a goat's head protruding from its back and a tail ending with a snake's head. Some representations also include dragon's wings.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have something really special for you. You might have heard about this one or you might not, but either way it's going to blow your mind. Today I'm not here to tell you the story of Greek mythology. I have something better for you. What if I tell you that the chimera do exist outside of Greek myths? A man accused of a crime while he was behind bars, or a woman told that she is not the mother of children she gave birth to. It seemed like an impossibility. After all, DNA doesn't lie, right? Do you think that DNA could lie? Well, it can definitely trick us. In 2002, Lydia Fairchild, mother of 3 children, was applying for public assistance to help support her family, and testing was required to prove that her children were indeed related to her, except they were not. DNA testing showed that the children were indeed siblings, but she was not their mother. She was accused of a fraud, and prosecutors even demanded her children be taken away from her and sent to foster care. Suddenly, she was living in a nightmare, facing prison, and almost had her children taken away, all because her DNA lied. A breakthrough came when her lawyer discovered through his research an article about a woman named Karen Keegan who had a rare condition called chimerism. Considering this newly emerging evidence, the DNA testing were repeated from samples from different body parts of Lydia and yet continued to show negative results until a sample was taken from her reproductive tissue, which indicated that she was the biological mother of her children. But if you think a mother almost losing her kids is crazy, listen what happened in Alaska. The real-life true crime story of a Alaska human chimera began in 2004 when a brutal sexual assault occurred. Local investigators collected semen samples found at the crime scene, and when they ran this DNA profile through the criminal database, bingo, it produced a match. They had their man. However, there was a major problem. The matching suspect was already in prison when the assault happened. When investigators dug into the suspect's medical history, they found the missing puzzle piece. A year earlier, the imprisoned man had undergone a life-saving bone marrow transplant to treat a medical condition. His bone marrow donor was his brother. Because bone marrow produced the body's white blood cells, a transplant completely replaces the recipient's blood DNA with the donor's DNA. Once the Alaska State Troopers untangled this biological mix-up, they pivoted their investigation to the brother. He did not have an alibi and he was ultimately arrested and convicted for the assault. If you love detective shows, this case actually inspired a legendary episode of CSI Las Vegas Season 4 episode 23, and it called Bloodlines. I highly recommend watching this episode because it perfectly captured just how much this blows investigators' mind. When I watched this episode, I was like, wait, what? Is this real? So I did some research and yes, it is real. And that's what inspired today's video. So what exactly is happening here? A human chimera is a person who has two or more genetically distinct set of DNA within their body. There are two main types of chimera. First, natural chimera, which occurs early in pregnancy. Twins may fuse together, so one twin stop growing, but cells are absorbed by surviving twin. As a result, the surviving baby grow up with two different sets of DNA spread to their body, which was the first story I told you about. And the second type is artificial chimera. This happens when a patient received a bone marrow transplant. Bone marrow transplant creates blood cells, so over time the patient's blood and other bodily fluids will carry the DNA of the bone donor, while their skin or hair keeps their original DNA. And this is exactly what happened in the second story. People with this condition often do not know they are chimeras unless they have specific genetic testing. Physical signs can sometimes include having two different colored eyes or two different skin tones, but many chimeras have no outward physical indicators. So it turns out that nature is far more creative and complex that our science database ever expected. We aren't always just one person. Sometimes we are walking living team. So let me ask you, if you find out today that you carried a second set of DNA, what would you do? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And finally, let's do a quick test. If you already knew what a chimera was before this video, hit the like button. And if you had absolutely no idea, well, now you have to subscribe. Either way, you win. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao!